Here at Fellowship Memphis, we've been training church planters and other leaders from the get-go. One of the helpful ways we've found to describe our heart for developing future leaders is by calling ourselves a teaching church. That's helped for us here in Memphis because if you think about our medical community, there's 8 or 9 hospitals in this city. Well, I haven't looked at all their mission and purpose statements, but I would guess all 9 of them, would have as a mission statement the health and well-being of their patients. But a couple of them add a comma and the training of the next generation of church leaders. And so when our daughter, Beth and I's daughter, Brooke, had a little heart condition a few years ago, we went to Le Bonheur. It's a hospital that cares for its patients and trains the next generation of healthcare providers. When we met with our pediatric cardiologist, Dr. Wetzler, we didn't just meet with Dr. Wetzler. We met with Dr. Wetzler and 5 or 6 20-something, young 30-somethings with clipboards watching Dr. Wetzel take care of my daughter and talk to us. And there were literally 8 of us in this old Le Bonheur building, 10 by 10 room. What's up? And they're watching and observing. Why? Because Le Bonheur is committed to being a teaching, a training hospital. We are desiring to be a teaching, training church. And so in and around our culture, we've had over 30 men and women take part in our residency program, trained here, sent here to plant and renew churches in Memphis, sent from here to plant and renew churches all over the place. And so you'll get to hear from some of them in the month of June, some of our previous residents, some of our current residents. At times, we may ask you, if you're a part of a meeting, hey, can I bring a resident so they can watch this meeting happen? Or there'll be a fly on the wall at times in our elder meetings, or a fly on the wall. I'll grab them when I'm going to meet with somebody else in the city, another pastor, and just let them observe. And so you allow us to do that. Your giving to the Engage Memphis campaign allows that to be a reality. And so that's something we're really proud of, that we have a built-in flexibility in our church. We allow guys to do communion for the first time right here. Like we allow them to do a baptism for the first time, preach their first sermon right here. And I'm so proud of the history of our church by having kind of the shocks to absorb that we're going to let them work that out here so they're not making those mistakes out there when they go to do that. And so if there's anything ever weird on stage or something said the wrong way or there's just this big pause, you just need to think, resident, you know what I'm saying? So and we love that, and we love for them to go flourish. So that's one way. Second way we're involved in church planting as Fellowship Memphis. We have recently announced our partnership with Hope Presbyterian Church, Pastor Rufus Smith, and Second Pres, Pastor Sandy Wilson, to plant churches together right here in our city. So we're going to pool our resources, pool our training, pool our experiences to plant churches consistently and regularly right here in the city of Memphis. And again, Engage Memphis helps that become a reality. The first one, Hope will lead the charge on. It'll be in North Memphis around the Caldwell community. Their decade of work at Oasis of Hope. And so that'll be happening here in the next few months, and we're excited. We're also involved with Fellowship Associates the past 12 years. Now, Fellowship Associates creates a cohort of 7 to 9 church planters, and they go from September to May, meeting twice a month for 2 or 3 days a month. And so we're a part of that. We're one of the 7 or 8 churches that help train them. I personally, during that time, get to coach and mentor them. Part of what they do is come to Memphis and immerse themselves and learn from our staff, and they're here a couple of times a year, and we get to train them, and that's so exciting. So we just graduated a class in April, and we've already selected the next 8 guys that'll start in September, and we've been doing that for decades, and for at least a decade, and we've planted over 80 churches, and it's been amazing. We've planted and trained men like Eric Mason, Dr. Eric Mason, who's at Epiphany Fellowship in Philadelphia, right down the road from Temple, really cracking the code on multi-ethnic urban church planting. Redeemer in Dubai with Dave Furman, an amazing story of a 5-year-old church with over 2,000 people, 77 different people groups in his church, that meet in a downtown Dubai Hyatt Regency. I mean, how crazy is that? Right in the middle of the Arab Peninsula, and the fruit is just staggering. I met David and Gloria Furman when they were college students, 19, 20 years old, and to see 10 years later, 11, 12, 13 years later, God using them powerfully. We've trained men who have led churches in San Francisco, San Jose, Denver, Boston, Poland, Hong Kong, Jacksonville, Portland, Brooklyn, College Station, Austin, and many other places. And so Fellowship Memphis, you play a role in that. Our staff get to play a role in investing in those new churches. So just as the video showed, we can see the gospel advance and new churches get created. And finally, we are involved in Acts 29. Acts 29 is a diverse global network All right, not a denomination. It doesn't rule over us or have authority over us. It's a welcomed partnership we've stepped into. It's a network of church planting churches. So we get to network with other churches committed to planting churches and learn from each other and work together. And so I serve on that board, and right now we oversee about 570 church plants on 6 continents. And so I serve on that board with our president, Matt Chandler, who's at the Village Church in Dallas, our executive director, Steve Timmis, who's in Sheffield, England, and a guy named Bruce Wesley in Houston, and Leonce Crump in Atlanta, and Darren Patrick in St. Louis. We all labor together to give leadership to that organization. In fact, Greg Gibson, who pastors Living Hope out in Piperton, he's our regional director, and so he oversees Memphis and the greater Mid-South area, and so we're involved in that. And so you just need to know church planting is part of our DNA. I hope more and more ways that we can be excited. I hope 10 years from now we can look back and see hundreds of folks that we as a church have had a chance to help launch and do incredible work when it comes to church planting.